Hi, it is Tuesday, May 25th, and I continue to read and wonder my way through Matthew's Gospel. And this week we're working our way slowly but surely through Matthew chapter 7. Don't know if it'll last all week, but we're going a little bit at a time. For me, Matthew 7 is much like 6 and 5 before it, a collection of sayings by Jesus that Matthew has collected and put together. And so I'm just doing a few at a time so I can sort of sit and wonder a little bit about each of the sayings. With that in mind, I think we'll just jump in. So, Matthew 7, verses 7 through 13. Jesus says, "Ask, and it will be given you. Search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who searches finds, and for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Is there any among you who, if your child asks for bread, will give you a stone? Or if the child asks for a fish, will give a snake? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? And everything do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the law and the prophets. Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is easy that leads to destruction, and there are many who take it. For the gate is narrow and the road is hard that leads to life, and there are few who find it." There you go. I think three separate sayings, and I'm strangely going to start in the middle, go down, and go back up, just because that's the way they're striking me at the moment. And I'm sure that everybody remembered a time that Jesus said, "In everything do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the law and the prophets." And we have a poster in the church stating that golden rule, and then of course comparing it to all the other faiths. I mean, it's as if all the major faiths in the world have something similar. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Don't do to others what you don't want people to do to you. Be kind. Like they're across the board, they're all the same. And I'll be honest, sometimes that poster bugs me because it sort of suggests that all of our faiths can be reduced to just be nice to each other. And I think that there is more to our faith life. I think there's more than just let's be nice to each other. It's nice to recognize, it's good to recognize that we have much in common, but I'm not convinced that it's really the best way to grow in faith to go like, well, yeah, you can reduce it all to a bumper sticker. I don't think we can reduce our faith to a bumper sticker. I think this is an important saying of Jesus because it also upholds the law and the prophets. So what Jesus is saying, what the Christian movement is about, the way, which is what they called it, this way of Jesus, is not divorced from Abraham and Moses and the prophets. That as a Jew you can follow this and still remain faithful. I think that Jesus is clear that he's not starting a new thing. He's growing something that's there. Now you might wonder, does that mean I could be any of those faiths that sort of has that idea of a golden rule and be Christian? And I think, yes, you can. I think of my friends of other faiths who have said to me, and I've shared this, I know, more than once, a dear friend of me saying, "Norm, you make me a better Jew." I had friends who feel that some of the things that I have shared with them as we've shared our faith, that my Christian perspective has made them better Muslims, and I would say it works the other way around too. I have read things in the Quran. I have experienced things with Muslim friends that have made me a better Christian. They've given me another insight into a teaching of Jesus or into an aspect of my faith. And absolutely true for Jews. I have great many Jewish friends, and their insight has changed the way that I read the Bible. It has influenced the way that I understand my Christianity, and I am a better Christian. I'm a better person of faith because of my friends there who are Jewish as well as Muslim. And I spent a lot of time in my formative years immersed in Taoism, which has helped me understand my faith. And I have Buddhist friends, and we have so much in common. And I am increasingly being exposed to more and more of Hinduism, which also helps me to be a better Christian. So I love that Jesus acknowledges the connection to Judaism. And of course, in Matthew's context, we were still looking at a way of reforming Judaism as opposed to starting something new. But I'm reading this in the 21st century, so I may hear something a little bit different than those who first heard these words. And that doesn't make it less valid. So what I hear is that we have things in common and we can grow from that common place. I just don't think we should end up in that common place. I mean, well, yes, we should end up together in a sense, but I don't want to ever reduce anybody's faith to simply do to others as you would have them do to you. There is more in the journey, which kind of fits into that second piece. Just saying that, enter through the narrow gate. Do the hard work. There is easy work to be done, and apparently it leads to destruction. That seems dramatic. But I often find in moments of crisis, moments of decision, when I'm really exploring my faith and asking for guidance into what to do next. Very often, what my faith tells me is to do the harder thing, because the easy thing is already tempting. Oh, good, it'll be over with. I can do that really quickly and it's done. But my faith actually says, no, Norm, it's often a little more complicated than that. Because I truly believe that my faith is a relationship. And relationships are never light switch situations where you just go, click, did the right thing, it's done. I can't do the good deed and pack it away and say, I'm over, it's done. No, I need to strive to have a relationship with the people that I care about, with the people that I am learning to care about, with the people who make me crazy. I am always called into relationship. Called into relationship with God, which means I have to work at it all the time. Yes, there are moments in a relationship when the other carries you, and those are wonderful moments. But those aren't forever moments. I mean, the easiest relationship for me to reflect on is the relationship with my wife, one that we chose to grow together. And there are times, absolutely, that she carries me. But if the relationship was only her carrying me, that wouldn't be a relationship, and soon she would tire of me. There are times that I think that I have carried her. But again, not all the time. If I was always carrying her, I would also begin to think of myself as being awesome and of her being a burden. That's not how relationships work. So too my relationship with God. Sometimes God carries me, but very often I contribute and I work at it. Always work at it. So for me, the wisdom of this is that this narrow gate, that's the relationship gate. That's something I've got to work on all the time. And so often it would be easy to go, oh, tick that box off, done it. But that's not how it works. That's what I'm hearing anyway in those two passages. That's what I think is coming out for me today in this moment. Which then flips me up to ask and it will be given you. Search and you will find, knock and the door will be opened for you. And I have heard people reflect on these words and tell me, yeah, that's why I lead a holy life, and then I ask God, and God fills my bank account. I ask God, and I get a 6-bedroom house with a lovely big back garden. Success gospel works that way, and that doesn't really work for me. I've also sat with people who have heard this passage and go, yeah, well, I've been knocking and my life still sucks. And the simple answer is, well, then you haven't been knocking properly. You haven't been knocking long enough. You haven't done all the holy things that God expects you to do. I've heard that said too, but I have sat with couples who have discovered that they will never be able to bear children. I have sat with them after they have spent money and been through procedures that I can't even begin to fathom, and all they ever wanted is to have children. And they go, I'm asking, I'm searching, I'm knocking. Why is God not listening? So this is a tough passage. And we follow it up with, I mean, if a child came and asked for bread, would you give a child a stone? Of course not. So, of course, God is not going to be cruel to you. And then we turn that back. Well, then why aren't I getting what I want in the time that I want it in? When I hear this passage, and maybe it's because I'm afraid of asking too much and not getting it and having my faith torn away from me. But what I hear in this is that God loves me. That God is not going to give me stones when I ask for bread. So God is not out to get me, and God is not ignoring me. What I'm hearing is that it is worth praying and searching and growing in faith. It is worth struggling. And that if I am open, I will discover there are fruits to all of these things. These seeds that I'm planting will grow and reap. They may not grow and reap they may not grow for me to reap the way I'd hoped they would. But look and recognize that God is attentive and that doors do open. And sometimes I need to be aware of other doors and not be so fixed. I don't know about you, but I love crossword puzzles, number puzzles. I love puzzles, and I can remember some frustrating moments when I cannot solve the puzzle, and it makes me crazy, and I will become convinced. Well, you see, they have created a puzzle that can't be solved. That's what they're out to do. And I've been frustrated and angry and thrown the paper away that had the cryptic crossword that cannot be solved. And then if I stop and breathe, okay, it can be solved. If I know it can be solved, I will try again and I will be patient. I think what I get from this is that God has not created for me a life that cannot be solved. That there is justice in this life. There is peace in this life. There is love in this life. And knowing that it's there, I will keep looking and I will be patient. Which is very easy for me to say when it has not been often that I have knocked and not received an answer. I have from time to time not gotten what I wanted, or not gotten it when I thought I should get it, or and I know there are people who have had far greater disappointments and frustrations than I have. So I say this from a position of certainly some privilege and some luck. But I have also had some very hard times in my life. And when people hear about them, they go like, wow, how did you ever get through that? So my life has not been easy, always. But I recognize there are those who struggle harder than I do, and so these words may not be of value to them, but they are of value to me. That it is worth searching, that it is worth knocking, it is worth asking. And sometimes I do need to ask. I actually need to voice to God, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need, this is what I want. And in the asking, listen to myself, and in my prayers, I listen to God. And sometimes I hear other doors opening. Sometimes I hear answers that I wasn't expecting or didn't want to hear initially, but they are exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm not just simply saying, well, when I get lemons, I turn them into lemonade. No, but I do believe that ultimately God does not want me to suffer. I do believe ultimately the universe bends towards justice and beauty. And so knowing that I can be patient and keep working at it. I actually just preached on Sunday a line, and I wish that I could remember who said it because I do not remember, but it sticks out in my head. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but this idea that hope is not the optimistic belief that good things are going to happen soon. Um, Hope is the belief that there are things worth living for, things worth dying for. Um, and so that's what I hear in this. Um, it is worth asking, it is worth searching, it is worth knocking. And knowing that it's worth it, I will keep doing it and not be frustrated when it hasn't turned out the way that I thought it should or would. But that's where I am with these these sayings right now. I can imagine so many other ways that these could be heard. And so I invite you to wonder about some of those other ways that these could be heard. Don't take my word for it. Wonder. Take the narrow gate. Yeah, take my word for that one. Do the work. Do struggle. Do wonder. Do put it all out on the table and go, well, wait a minute. What about this? And if that, then what about that? So what is going on with ask and it will be given, search and you will find, knock and the door will be open for you? What does that mean? Because I've had times when I knocked and I didn't hear anyone answer. I have searched, I have not found. I've asked and I didn't get it. Is it just a matter of time? Did I ask wrong? Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you to wonder about today, but I will offer this prayer. Loving God, we thank you. We thank you for your wisdom, for your presence as we dare to wonder. We thank you because we've asked for your presence and experienced it, but we have also just experienced it without asking. We've experienced it as we've dared to open our ears, open our mouths, open our hearts. God, we thank you for your presence that is all around us. God, we ask that our wondering continue today and tomorrow, and in that wondering, may we continue to ask, continue to knock, continue to recognize your presence. We pray through the Holy Spirit and in the name of Jesus. Amen. So friends, that's it for me today, but I look forward to checking in with you tomorrow. Until we do check in, God bless you, which, as I say all the time, means that God sees you, that God moves through you. So who you are and what you do matters a great deal. So keep being and keep doing. God bless you. See you tomorrow.